Hi, this is Casey Copeland, and this is my Module 10 for AEP 880. So my first article that I'm going to summarize is 3 essential priorities for school principals. As schools change, so must principals. It's important for principals to learn important skills to help both teachers and students. These include emphasizing and carrying an inclusive learning environment, equipping staff and faculty to embrace their own leadership skills, and collaborating with the community. To emphasize a caring and inclusive learning environment, principals need to create a climate that makes all students feel included and important. Know all of the teachers and work to know the students that they are in charge of. Students' cultures should be taken into account and welcomed. Students need to feel comfortable in the school to take roles when they're leading others. According to Koenig, the best school leaders trust their staff to make the right decision. The teachers of tomorrow say they're for coaches, not bosses. A principal also needs to provide the correct training to meet the needs of the school and staff. These trainings should also help teachers grow as leaders. Lastly, a principal must make connections within the community they are serving. They need to know the cultures that are represented, what needs need to be met, and how to keep the community constantly involved. Partnerships would need to be created so the community can help the school and vice versa. This is an ongoing process and will not be the same for every school. A principal can adapt to this and focus on what's best for the school and the community. The next article is How Feeling Respected Transforms a Student's Relationship to School. Discipline in school has changed. Studies show that suspensions are linked to dropout rates, which are linked to referrals for law enforcement later in life. Instead of suspending students for minor infractions, teachers and administrators should focus more on changing the environment of the classroom and how students feel in it. Respect should not just be based on compliance and cooperation. According to Sparks, respect should involve a basic recognition of humanity, including remembering a student's name and pronouncing it correctly, not speaking down to students or embarrassing them in front of their peers, and expressing interest in their perspectives. Many students hate school, and some have given up completely. Usually, teachers have done this to students. They focus more on right and wrong answers instead of students learning. Feedback and encouragement can go a long way to change how a student sees schools. Teachers also need to focus more on setting and following expectations instead of punishing. This is especially important when race is involved. Students that are Latino or Black are much more likely to get in trouble for minor infractions. Teachers need to be mindful of this so that these students get the education they deserve. Teachers react with empathy when disciplining. It can change the classroom and school environment. It is important for teachers to take into account what is going on in a student's life and how it could affect them. Teachers need to be trained in this. Just having one teacher change how they treat students can change the atmosphere in the school completely. The next article is Creating a Warm and Inclusive School Classroom Environment, Planning for All Children to Feel Welcome. Classroom environment plays a huge part in student learning. If a student does not feel welcome, their learning will suffer. Teachers have the duty of establishing a classroom environment that involves all students and lets them freely express their thoughts while also still respecting others. Teachers can start this by making their classroom visually inviting. The colors should be inviting and have space for student work to be displayed. Students should feel comfortable coming and not be overwhelmed with colors and things to read. The classroom should also be easy to navigate. Materials should be accessible and usable by all students as well. Even though neat rows are easy for a teacher to monitor, it isn't the best setup for collaboration, so this also needs to be taken into account. Having a classroom tradition and class meetings can also bring students together. Classroom traditions such as having a class motto or quote will help the kids feel united. Class meetings can focus on issues that need resolved and conflicts that happen within or out of class. These sessions can help students develop social skills and bring a class together. Teaching and modeling self-advocacy and self-determination skills will also help students be more reflective and understand the reasoning behind certain activities. This would also involve teaching goals and showing students how to reach goals that are important to them. This would help students with their motivation. According to Buchholz, one way to help students feel as if they're a welcome and trusted member of the class community is by listening to them when they speak. Students should also be taught how to listen actively. Teachers need to show students how to listen for specific things. According to Buchholz, they should understand what they need to listen for, not simply that they need to listen. This will help students focus more on what their classmates are discussing and what they are learning. Lastly, using children's literature in class can have a positive impact on the classroom environment by discussing many different topics such as making friends, dealing with conflicts, and learning how to accept peers that are different than they are. Older students could also listen to different books to learn different lessons. Next article, Strategies for Building a Productive and Positive Learning Environment. According to Lovelace, positive learning environments should offer a climate of safety where risk-taking is encouraged. There is open, authentic conversation, trust and respect are fostered. Positive interaction is the norm. Teachers can implement several strategies to help students feel comfortable in classes. These include making learning relevant, developing a code of conduct so students know what is expected of them when they enter the classroom, employing a positive actions curriculum. This focuses on positive actions to help students feel good about themselves instead of focusing on what not to do, helping students develop intrinsic motivation. I'm so sorry. Students should focus less on negative thoughts and more on positive actions so that they do more of what makes them feel good. Reinforcing positive behaviors, stickers, toys, reward points, free time, etc., as long as students know the connection between the positive behaviors and the rewards. And always responding with positivity. Teachers should focus on handling situations in a positive way. Okay, so then these are my 4 articles on preventing bullying compared to intervention. Preventing bullying with emotional intelligence. Even with bullying awareness at an all-time high, bullying has not declined. This is because the programs focus more on the symptoms of bullying instead of focusing on the actual causes, what the actual causes are for why students are bullying, which likely included lack of emotional intelligence, a set of skills for understanding, communicating about, and regulating feelings. Emotional intelligence needs to be the focus of bullying prevention instead of zero-tolerance policies, telling students to stand up to bullies, etc. According to Brackett, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize emotions in themselves and in others, understand the causes of emotions and their consequences for thinking and behavior, label emotions with a sophisticated vocabulary, express emotions in socially appropriate ways, and regulate emotions effectively. Adults and children can use their knowledge of emotional intelligence to maintain healthy relationships because they know how to handle and identify emotions they are feeling. Research-backed approaches to preventing bullying. There is usually no one magic plan to prevent bullying. Many programs are used in conjunction with others. Social and emotional learning (SEL) programs reduce bullying when used with classroom strategies that teach students how to connect with others and understand their own emotions. SEL programs focus on understanding emotion and how to respond to others in a caring way. These whole school programs that students and teachers have to go through are rarely talked about after having the program is finished. Classroom strategies that expand on these programs and are practiced on a regular basis are more likely to make a difference than by itself. Some strategies include helping students connect with others, saying hello, and making eye contact with their peers every day, helping students control their emotions, focusing on good things or things that they are grateful for when they are afraid or distressed, helping students reduce anxiety, giving students positive brain breaks and teaching students how to reduce anxiety with breathing techniques, helping students develop empathy, teaching students how to appreciate their peer strength, individuality, and humanity. Fostering identity safety in school. When students are bullies, our first instinct is usually to discipline the bully. However, just disciplining the bullying does not change the reasons why the bullying occurred, especially if the bullying often happens to those that are different races, ethnicities, sex, have physical, mental disabilities, etc. Stop bullying. Really stop it instead of just disciplining students, hoping the punishment will curtail other students from doing the same. We need to focus on creating a climate of inclusion and understanding. According to Vargas, a team approach can be used to develop an identity-safe climate where every student and staff member feels welcomed and valued, where nobody has to leave their identity at the door. Students should be in a climate where differences are discussed and celebrated instead of being hidden or seen as something bad. Inclusion should constantly be part of the teaching process. Bullying should be addressed swiftly in a way that addresses why the bullying occurred and involves all students in a conflict resolution and discussion. Staff needs to be trained how to create a climate of inclusion that addresses bullying in the correct manner. In order to see the climate that a school has, data needs to be collected, because no matter what the staff thinks, they are not the ones needing to learn that environment. Policies need to be analyzed and updated frequently to ensure they are doing what they need for the students. Inclusion for all students, no matter their race, disabilities, identity, etc., should be the focus, and this requires education for staff and students. Wellness should also be included in the training so that issues are addressed as they come up. Comprehensive plan to prevent bullying. Data shows that the bullying programs are usually modest and include zero-tolerance policies that have little to no effect. These programs can actually have an adverse reaction as students resist reporting incidents because they feel the consequences are too harsh or punitive. To help combat the bullying epidemic that has major effects on students' health, both long-term and short-term, the government created the Federal Partners in Bullying Prevention, FPBP. This program focuses solely on bullying and works to understand how to prevent it. They do this by enforcing one consistent definition of bullying, gathering evidence on all parties involved in bullying, gathering data on programs already in place for the prevention and intervention of bullying, gathering data on stigmas, biases, etc. to determine the underlying causes of bullying, working to develop programs that are based on evidence, working for employers to understand how important bullying prevention trainings are, and working to have social media companies develop anti-bullying policies that are outlined and understood. It's important to know that what is not working and what needs to change to prevent bullying from happening in the first place so that students are not subjected to the health issues that come with bullying. So types of bullying. The major types of bullying are name-calling, teasing, spreading rumors or lies, and pushing or shoving. And it's gotten to the point where we are now not thinking just hitting and slapping, punching, and things like that. It goes all the way down to email and blogging, which has been much larger. Where bullying takes place, so 29% of it is in the classroom, and then the hallways and lockers, and then the cafeteria, which I definitely agree with, and in the so missing policies and procedures. So most bullying occurs in the classroom, the halls, and the cafeteria. Teachers are always in their rooms every second of every class. To curb misbehaviors in the halls, each teacher stands outside their rooms to greet students and monitor those that are passing. This is usually when bullying occurs. So how do we fix this? Bullying prevention. Teachers cannot prevent bullying every second of every day, even if there is quite a bit of supervision during the school day. Instead of just a discipline policy, policies should be in place that address how bullying is handled with all parties involved, including bystander. This will help everyone understand why the bullying is happening, and schools can work on changing the school environment to help students understand their own emotions and connect with their classmates while understanding their differences. Then what happens to bullying when steps are taken to change the environment? As the school environment changes to include all students and to teach them about their differences, bullying declines and students start to understand the consequences of their actions. Students who feel included, valued, and accepted will act out less and work to make others feel included as well. Being different than what is the norm should be accepted, and students need to focus less on how others are different and more on how their peers strengthen the school in general. Just intervention after the fact will not prevent it. Students need to be aware of consequences and what bullying constitutes, but that shouldn't be the only focus. Bullying prevention should include more than just an assembly or a contract that students sign and forget about. As this changes, students and teachers will focus more on changing bullying. Positive learning environments will also allow students to focus less on not being good enough and more on learning. Having a positive climate to learning can and will change everything. And these are my sources.